28.
28.
28 piccolos.
30.
30 clarinets.
31.
31.
31 trumpets.
22.
22.
22 mellophones.
11 baritones.
23.
23. 23 alto saxes. 12.
12 tenor saxes.
27.
27 drummers. 2 majorettes.
11 trombones.
4
4.
drum majors.
13. 13 tubas.
16.
16. 16 color guard.
This
This.
is the pride of the ACC.
Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to another edition of the Pride of the ACC. My name is Adam Pohl, joined by the head of University Bands and Jeff Fuchs, as we look at the week that was here for the Marching Tar Heels, and we've got a little bit to tell for our alumni and our current students as well. We're gonna make this a little more interactive with everybody today as well. But first of all, Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing great, Adam. Had a good week. I tell you, we continue to get stuff organized in the office. I don't remember a time that the office has been more organized and inventoried and all that. The time way, but we also received great news this week that all of our seniors who wanted to and were able to, they're going to be in Keenan Stadium on October 10th when the Heels take on Virginia Tech. We're allowed now to have about 3,500 fans by order of the governor, 7%. And the athletic department's made it possible for those band, cheer, and dance seniors to be part of that crowd. So we were thrilled to find out that the 46 of our 60 seniors who want and can be there are going to be there to see the Heels play on October 10th. So.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is great news. We'll take every little bit of it right now. And one of the things we wanted to talk about before we jump into the meat and potatoes of our episode, though, is something we wanted to do for our final show. Now, we still got a little ways. You're not done with us yet, everybody. but as far as our Pride of the ACC show here, we wanted to do something special for our final episode and include not only current students, but also our alumni.
Yeah, Adam, and it was your idea, actually. I think it's awesome. Yeah, our final episode, the performance is going to be what I think will end up being the world's largest rendition of Hark the Sound. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get out both through our Facebook page and through the email blast. We're going to get out a recording of Hark the Sound with a click track. And we're also going to get out sheet music and words. And we want every alum, every current student to get their horns out or sing or spin a flag, whatever you do, get your baton out if you're a majorette. And we want you to video yourself participating with us in Hark the Sound. And we're going to mix it all together on this end. And the performance for our 14th and final episode will be all hands on deck performance of Hark the Sound. I think it'll be an awesome production, and it'll be so great to see all the faces of everybody participating. If you don't have your instrument, that's all right. You can sing along, stand and clap, sway. We just want you to be seen.
And we will have all the details up shortly about that on our Facebook page. And you're going to have some time to be able to put it together as well, because we'll be accepting renditions of it and all the way through October the 26th. We got to have a little bit of time, though, so we can put it all together. But, one of the cool things about this show, Jeff, has been that, it's been hard. You've been working to kind of put together who we're highlighting, who we're talking to. we're not able to talk to every student or tell every alumni's story. And there's so many people that have wanted to be a part of the show that hopefully this is a way here in year one of the program that we can get everybody to be a little piece of it.
Yeah, I know I look forward to watching that last performance and just, oh, there's so-and-so and there's so-and-so. And I want to see, hundreds of faces and trip down memory lane. And you're absolutely right. It's been so hard to narrow down on which alums we're going to talk to. And goodness gracious, we've probably got about 10 years worth of shows that we could talk to alums and find out what they're doing. And we may keep doing that. I've had some ideas of how we can keep the momentum going, even if it's just a weekly alumni spotlight or something like that. It has been fun finding out what people are doing and reconnecting this way.
So that's a good transition because obviously the majority of people that are in the band play instruments, but our staff highlight today is going to be with Zoe Hansen Burnet, who is actually the head staff member that runs and oversees the twirlers, the majorettes. And, we want to see the twirlers as a part of our Hark the Sound as well, along with the guard. But tell us a little bit about Zoe and how she became a part of the Marching Tar Heels, overseeing our two majorettes.
Yeah, well, a few years ago, Sierra and Ava wrote to me. They were interested in auditioning, and it had been 4 or 5 years since we had a majorette. And of course, early in my time here, we had majorettes all the time, and Janice Carmichael coached them. And then we went a period without any, and we had one come in. So we brought back Pam McDonald was her maiden name. Now it's Pam Spell, and Pam had twirled for us, and so we brought her back, and she coached for us for 3 years. And then when Sierra and Ava came along, I called Pam again, but her kids were a little bit older. So I called my friend over at NC State because I knew they had twirlers, and I said, I want a twirler. You know me well enough. You know what kind of people I get along with. And he said, I've got the perfect one for you. And he recommended Zoe, and we met for lunch one day. And she's a real estate attorney over in Raleigh, and just she's a great fit with our staff and our students. She understands what we have going on and how we do what we do. And from day one, she's just been an awesome fit. And I'm hoping we get some new majorette interest next year so that we can keep her around and keep her on staff. But she's been a great part of our team for the past 4 years.
Well, folks, let's now meet Zoe.
My name is Zoe Hansen Burnet. I am the majorette instructor for the Marching Tar Heels, and I have been doing this for the past 4 years. My seniors, Ava and Sierra, are awesome. I came in with them, so we learned this band together, and we've been learning it since. There's still lots to learn, I know. They are both really awesome twirlers. They both chose to come to UNC for academic reasons, and twirling was a bonus for them. And I think that's awesome. They have really embraced the position of being new and coming in where there were not twirlers for at least several years, and made it their own and created traditions of their own. I'm really proud of them for that. I started twirling when I was 7 and twirled competitively, continued on through high school, twirled at Southeast Raleigh Marching Bulldogs with Clifton Scott. Went on to twirl at NC State with Dr. Garcia there, and then continued. I graduated, decided to go to law school at Campbell University in downtown Raleigh. They didn't have a marching band, though, at the time, so I actually got to go back and twirl at NC State while I was a law student. And then I found my way to UNC, and I really feel like it's home. It's really been nice to join the family. It's been wonderful for me to be able to carry the branch forward. That's something that's traditional in baton twirling. So my coach, Joanna Longman McGuire, was a student of Miss Carmichael, who was the majorette instructor at UNC for decades. It's part of what we do to make sure that the support continues and that the next generation has a place to go and has someone to learn from and and grow through. I'm a real estate attorney. I deal with real property. I practice in downtown Raleigh right now. And I do mostly real estate closings for people who would like to close houses. I search title. So I go back into the county records of wherever the property is and get to be a detective and get to solve problems in that way. And that really was my other true passion growing up, was kind of the detective side of things. So when I graduated from NC State and I was looking for what my next step would be, like so many people do, instead of deciding to go ahead and get a job, I decided that maybe I wanted to be a bit more of a detective and practice that side of the law. The overlap is kind of interesting because there aren't very many attorneys who twirl baton, especially in this part of North Carolina. I'm probably one of the only overlapping baton attorneys, but it's one of the other ways that you can use a lot of the skills that you learn twirling. So in twirling, you learn how to communicate a skill through visual means, and attorneys do the same thing. It's learning to communicate a skill to your clients and learning to advocate for your clients, which my clients were the band, what I want to show them and how I want to be an asset to the band. I understand that Mr. Fuchs reached out to Dr. Garcia, the band director at NC State, and I had been a twirler there maybe 3 years before. And Dr. Garcia thought of me and pushed Mr. Fuchs in the right direction towards me. We ended up having lunch and I learned about the program and got to know more about the staff and the band in general, because every band's so completely different. And that's where it all started. That was the beginning. I think that both of them are probably going to be in a position to start training the next generation of twirlers. And I hope they feel like they can do that. I see my next step as being ready for the next generation of UNC twirlers. I'm hoping that we have some girls come forward, or boys. Baton twirling is open to males as well, or anyone really. And I'm hoping that those people come forward soon so that we can keep this tradition alive.
Well, Jeff, you talked about a little bit. I'm going to let you make your pitch again, your sales pitch, because Zoe's been a great part of the staff for 4 years. Both majorettes, both twirlers are in their senior year. So the Marching Tar Heels are in need of that fresh blood for next year. And hopefully somebody watching this show today is going to be the next face of the Marching Tar Heels in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a twirler watching, or if you know a twirler and they're good, send them our way. We'd love to have them. There's nothing more spectacular than what they add to the show, and especially when they light the fire. It's always great to get a response, and oftentimes you'll forget, and I'll be watching the video or watching the show, and I'll hear this roar go up. It's like, what's going on? And you look over, and the majorettes have lighted their batons, and it's like, oh yeah, fire! That'll get them every time. So yeah, we hope to have some with us next year, so we can keep Zoe, because she's awesome.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I'm from the DC area where high school football isn't really that big of a thing, you know, as far as in the public schools. And I once traveled and went to a high school football game in a part of the country where it was. And one of the moments that I thought, wow, this is crazy here, was when in high school they were twirling with fire. I mean, it really is a spectacle. And, you know, it's a funny transition for us here into our next segment, because obviously the majorettes, the twirlers, you know, they don't make any sound on the field, and we're about to go into a group that might make the most sound. So tell us a little bit about these trombones, because they are always quite a crew.
The trombone section has, you know, it's another one that has a unique personality, and they have had for many years, and they're a little smaller in number right now than they have been. We graduated 2 years in a row, we graduated a really large class of trombones, and they were hit hardest this fall in terms of number by the students who chose not to come back to campus. Of all the sections, there were, I think, 30% of that section chose not to come back to campus. So during camp, there were very few of them around. But yeah, they're great kids, and they are very. I will say loud. They're loud. personality wise and playing wise, but they're great kids. And yeah,
All right, let's meet our current batch of trombones.
Hi, I'm Daniel Myrick, a junior political science and media journalism major from Bisco, North Carolina.
And I'm Ben Thompson, a junior chemistry major from Weddington, North Carolina. We are proud to be the trombone section captains for the 2020 season.
The trombone section is a little bit smaller than normal this year due to COVID, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean we're any less enthusiastic. We're all from North Carolina this year, and we have 3 first-year members, 4 sophomores, and 3 juniors in the section this year.
And we are proud to continue many of the traditions that have been passed down to us from previous sections. And we can't share a meal together without sharing a pink lemonade. And game day is never complete without a little hokey pokey under the trombone tree at Murphy Hall.
We've even started some of our own traditions over the past few years, like the glissando and Here Comes Carolina, and our trombone rules chant at the end of each rehearsal. We enjoy being around each other and cheering on the Tar Heels every chance we can.
Even with the global pandemic, we're still just as excited as ever for whatever comes next for the marching Tar Heels in the trombone section.
Well, that was a great look at our 2020 trombone section. I'm about to do something here, Jeff, that I don't think my trumpet brethren would be very happy about, right? But when, I wasn't a local, a North Carolinian, growing up. And my parents, obviously, and extended family, you're able to watch the Tar Heels anywhere, and they would search for me during all the games when they would show the crowd shots of the band. And of course, if you're growing up and watching this, if you want to get on TV, play the trombone, right? I mean, they always want to show that slide that said Carolina. I never got any airtime.
Yeah, well, the trombones need a little extra room, and they usually are down front or always have extra space. But yeah, you're right. If you don't play trombone, you don't get much airtime on TV.
All right, now let's change tracks here and take a look at our alumni highlight. And Jeff, it's so cool because we've been able to feature such a diverse group of people, whether it's their profession, what they've gone into, their ages, when they were in the band. And I know we did feature somebody that started in music education, James Lane, a good friend of mine who has gone on to running the state of Virginia's education department. But today, Arris Golden, she's a person that started in the Marching Tar Heels and has risen through music education all the way to being one of the top people in running Michigan State's band program. And, it's really going to be so proud for you, Jeff, but just to see one of us kind of move to this height in the marching band level.
Yeah, Adam, Arris is a great story on so many levels. She wasn't a music major when she was in undergrad, and she was in the band. And then when Dr. Heil came, her passion changed. And so she stayed 2 extra years and became a band director, music teacher, because of the impact he had on her. And then she taught for, I think, 18 years, she taught middle school band and was an awesome teacher. But then she had another urge to achieve at a higher level. So she finished her master's during that time, and she went to Michigan State to do a doctorate. And to go from middle school band to working with one of the premier college bands in the country was quite a leap of faith on her part, but she did it, and she finished her doctorate. And I think for all of us, she's a great example of not being afraid to change course and to follow your passion. And she didn't only do it once, she did it twice in her life. And she's been important to us. When I first got here, she was in that 2-year transition going from undergrad to finish her teaching. And then I guess 5 years ago now, when Matt McClure decided to leave after 13 years, it was too late to do a search. And Arris was finishing her 2nd year at Michigan State. So I called her and said, hey, why don't you come down and work with us for a year, do your dissertation, And she did, and then she won the job the next year. And then lo and behold, Michigan State hired her right back away from us the following. But she's another one that has been a great friend to me since I've been here, and I have so much respect for her and what she brings to the table, both as a human being and as a musician and as a teacher.
We can't wait for you to meet Arris.
So I am Arris Golden, and I was at UNC in the Marching Tar Heels really two separate times. So I was there from 1987 to 1991 as a band member, and I played alto saxophone for a portion of that and played percussion in the drum line for a portion of that. And then I was there again from 92 to 96, but I didn't march. I was one of the helpers with the band. We were called graduate assistants, but it really wasn't a graduate situation. And then I went away for a while and taught public school. I actually was on staff with the Marching Tar Heels again in 2013 and 2014 for a year before I started graduate school at Michigan State. And then I was the assistant director of bands working with Jeff Fuchs and Evan Feldman and El Fisaha from 2016 to 2018, which then leads me back to my current position here in East Lansing, Michigan at Michigan State University, where I'm assistant director of bands and associate director of Spartan Marching Band. It happened when I was very, very young and playing in school band. I'm like, I really enjoy this. I think I want to do this. But then, when I was applying for undergraduate degrees and I was picking schools and choosing schools, it's like, well, I really want to go to Chapel Hill, but I don't want to major in music anymore. I'm going to do something pre-law, and I'll go to law school. Maybe I'll go to law school there if I can get into school. So Major Y was there through essentially my entire career up till my junior, senior year on campus. And at that point in 1989, Dr. Heil showed up, and I wasn't in music ed. I wasn't involved in that at all. I didn't even play in anything but the marching band, but just his energy and his dedication to things kind of reignited in me. And additionally, Stephen Lytle and several other people. There's another name that's been an assistant director with the band program. And we all switched majors and came back from wherever we were, from poli-sci to econ to business to physics, and decided to go and finish our music education degrees. So it was really one of those linchpin moments and one of those inspirational people that just had an effect on such a large group of us. And it was him and his wife, Dr. Nancy Whitaker, that brought us all back into the fold. It's interesting how things work out sometimes. The first concert that we did here at MSU, the length of music that I had to know and be able to conduct would encompass probably my entire year of concerts at the middle school level, because the music's much more involved, it's longer, it has more parts, it has more instruments. You're telling students the same basic things in many ways, but the language is very, very different. You cannot talk to a college student like you would talk to a sixth grader. But I enjoy both age levels equally. I think if anything, I so value and so love the traditions with which I'm familiar. Like some of the same things that happened when John Yeselaitis was in charge of the band are still in existence in some way with Jeff Fuchs right now. One of the biggest things, percussionist that I am, the UNC cadences, there's some things about those cadences that have the exact same form and content tweaked by Matt Savage during the years that it did when I got to campus in 1987. So it's just knowing what those traditions are and the things that used to be one way back in the late 80s, early 90s, but have evolved to another way to be present in the new millennium. That's pretty cool. The community of a collegiate marching band is an incredibly special thing. And it's also a very, very durable, very, very sturdy thing. So we can come onto campus as alums and connect to the students in the marching band, whether we were in the Marching Tar Heels in the 1990s or the 1960s or the 1970s or the 2000s. That framework, that connective tissue still exists, and it's going to exist beyond this pandemic. None of us are really getting to do things in the way that we would like to right now. And I would say that about even the marching bands that are playing. it is not comfortable to play in the mask, be in the mask, have the up and down. It just isn't. And it's so outside of our norm. But again, the thing that we have and that we're going to be able to come back to when we're past all of this is our community and is the traditions that make us who we are. The Marching Tar Heels are going to be the Marching Tar Heels. That family is going to continue, and we're all going to continue to have the same love that we've always had for each other and for the campus and for all the things we do.
Well, from Carolina to middle school teacher, back to Carolina to Michigan State, Arris has had quite a career. You know, it's interesting, Jeff, because the Carolina band and Michigan State have had a lot of ties, haven't they? I mean, when I was in the band, Brian Doyle was a part of the band, and he was such a great piece of your staff when in the late 90s and early 2000s, and he was from Michigan State as well.
Yeah, indeed. You know, we developed friends and across the country. One of my very best friends in the business, I have four kind of people that I really go to on a regular basis, and one of them was at Michigan State for many years, named John Madden, not the football guy, the band guy. And John was one that I trusted, and he knew me well. And in fact, when we started the search for Brian, I called John along with my other guys, and I said, you know, we're looking for somebody. Who do you have that will work well with me, that I will enjoy working with, that fits the mold? And just instantly he came up with Brian Doyle. Mm-hmm. And he was right. And when Arris asked me about going back to grad school, I was the first one to say Michigan State, because between Kevin Sedetol and John, and we've also had, you know, Brian Howe, Will Elder, we've had a lot of kids go to Michigan State from Carolina. So there is a connection there.
I'll tell you, another thing that was so cool in talking to Arris was that she was a part of the band in one way, shape, or form under all three directors here of the last 50 or 60 years, because she started in Major Y's band. And I mean, that's really amazing. And she's been influenced by all three of you. Yeah,
that's true too. I hadn't really thought about it. You're absolutely right. She is one of the few ties that bind, so to speak. She cuts across all three. That's pretty amazing. From 1964 to 2020, there's been three directors, and she's been in each of their bands, or involved with each of the bands. So that's important.
So it's time for our performance of the day. We're going to go back, well, not really in our way back machine, but just a few years back to 2017. The Tar Heels were playing UVA, and your halftime show was called Bollywood. This was a fun one. I had a good time looking back at it. I was thinking about Arris too, and that with, I don't think Major Y would have known what Bollywood was. Do you?
Yeah, you know, it's the whole way the world has developed and media has played a role in it. You know, it's this was an idea we had. One of our drummers, Kuntal Shaw, was very involved in Bhangra Elite, which is one of our Indian dance troupes on campus. And they were competitive on the national level. And one year they used our drum line as part of their show. And it was so impressive with the colors and the movement and the costuming that they did, that we put this show together, oddly enough, the year after Kuntal graduated. But there's three kind of Indian dance styles, if you would, with the Bhangra Elite dances, Chalka, UNC Chalka, and Tar Heel Ross are kind of three major groups on campus. And so we wanted to feature them. So Stephen Lytle worked with us. He was at Miami University in Ohio at that time. And actually one of his colleagues there was very into this kind of music. So we put the musical package together, and this is one of the only shows we've ever prepared twice but only performed once.
Okay.
And Arris was part of both that. We prepared it in 2016, and we were ready to go with it. And that was the year we played Virginia Tech during Hurricane, I think it was Matthew, where it rained like
yes,
1/2 inches during the ball game. And So we weren't able to do the show, and it just never made sense to do it again that year. So we put it on the shelf and brought it back in 17 and adjusted a few things. But yeah, it was a great day in Kenan Stadium, and it was a great cultural day for the band kids, and it exposed the three dance troupes on campus to a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have even known they were around. So it was one of those win-win situations, and goes down as probably it's certainly one of my top 10 favorite shows since I've been here.
Jeffrey Fuchs and Arris Golden, led on the field by drum majors Parker Camella, David Rivera, Austin Seamster, and Jordan Showalter. Please welcome the 2017 Marching Tar Heels. Today, the Marching Tar Heels salute Bollywood. We begin with a theme song from the movie Slumdog Millionaire, Jaho. Please welcome to the field, UNC Chalker. Something for those of you on the north side. Enjoy Dola Ray Dola from the 2002 movie Devdas. And now, please welcome Tar Heel Ross.
Yeah, because it was a second. It was wrong. It just ain't right.
Okay, students, it's your turn now. Here's the title track from the 2006 film, Rain Day Bashante. Please welcome UNC Bhangra Elite.
Well, that was the performance of Bollywood from 2017 in Carolina's game at home against UVA. The Tar Heels are on the road this week against Boston College. Jeff, I don't think they've got a 5'5" quarterback named Doug Flutie, though. We should be okay, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'll miss being in Boston College. One of the great things about traveling is you get to find the local cuisine that's great at every stadium. I will tell you, Boston College is the only stadium I've been to that has a clam chowder. And my goodness, it's good up there.
I love it. I love it. We do want to remind you about Hark the Sound. Once again, we talked about it at the beginning. You've got about a month to get it in, but stick with us on our Facebook pages and the like, and we'll give you more details as to how to record and what we want you to give to us. And we're just looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. It's going to be a very special way to conclude what's been a very special fall, very unique fall.
We still got quite a few shows to go, though, so thank you for sticking with us. That's going to do it for this episode, though, of the Pride of the ACC. For Jeff Fuchs, my name is Adam Pohl, and we'll see you again next week.